Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy, know y'all with me, let's get
Welcome
it, baby.
back to another edition of the
Rockin' Royal,
Football Show here on the
Rockin' Navy,
KSL.com
know you with me.
Network.
Let's get it,
I'm your host,
baby.
Sean Walker,
Boys
BYU
just came
writer
back from their
for
mission. We going crazy.
KSL.com. I'm going to do something a little different on this show because I got an interview that I want to get to that I think is really fun. So stick around for that, if nothing else, or you can fast forward. Thanks for the download through a couple of my thoughts here early on. But the interview I had was with an incoming BYU grayshirt freshman, Boyd Sorensen, a defensive lineman out of Sugar City, Idaho. That's right in the Rexburg area. Sugar Salem High School is where he went to school. He just barely came home from a mission, a 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he almost immediately committed to BYU and Jay Hill's defense in particular. So he's going to be on campus this semester, this upcoming fall semester, but he will be gray shirting. Probably won't be practicing with the team, although there is maybe potentially a chance. We'll get into that. You'll hear that from our interview with him, that he could be involved in like an extreme kind of break glass in case of emergency type of backup situation. But Boyd was a really good kid. I caught up with him when he and his family, his dad, came into town to just kind of do some last minute preparations as he gets ready to relocate from Sugar City, Idaho to Provo, Utah for the upcoming fall semester. You know, housing and class schedules and that kind of logistical stuff that bores most of us, quite frankly, that aren't involved in the academic calendar in general. But Boyd's a really unique story, I think, because he came out of high school and he had a couple of offers, some FCS schools, Idaho State and Idaho were looking at him. He had some interest from Boise State mostly as a preferred walk-on. And he was about ready to go the junior college route when he got a call from Jay Hill, BYU defensive coordinator, saying, "Hey, how soon can you get to campus?" Turns out BYU wanted him. They just didn't have enough room on this roster right now in particular, and they've got some holes on that defensive line and a couple more that should be opening up here after the 2023 season. After the 2024 season. And so they wanted him for 2025 for sure, but they didn't necessarily want him to get away and maybe have to go to a JUCO for 2 years or that kind of thing. So Boyd quickly backtracked. He made some plans with his dad, his mom, his dad, his siblings, including an older sister who's going to be in a master's program at BYU. And they got ready to head to Provo after a really unique kind of 2.5 years off recruiting cycle. But this player is good. I think BYU fans are going to be pretty excited about him. He came out of high school as a 6'4", 230-pound defensive end, edge rusher / part-time fullback, dude who just really likes to hit people. He's a multi-sport athlete as well. He played basketball and he did the decathlon in track and field. And he's actually gotten bigger on his mission. He's grown close to an inch. He's put on about 20 pounds. He says he's right around 250 pounds, or that's where he's hoping to get to fairly consistently over the course of the next semester. And he was productive as heck as well. His senior season at Sugar Salem High School, he totaled 67 tackles, 33 solo stops. That's 6.1 tackles per game, 21.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, a couple PBUs, forced fumble in there. He wreaked a lot of havoc. He played 2 ways. He played multiple positions, even multiple sports in some ways, and now he's coming to BYU. So pretty cool story there. We'll get into that and touch on that a little bit more in my interview after this group. But I'm going to use this podcast to introduce a little mini-series for you as we get through the final weeks of training camp. And I want to take a look at the 2024 season to come. We haven't done that officially yet here on the podcast or on KSL.com. So go ahead and click on over there. If you haven't read it yet, you can see some of my thoughts on the schedule in verbal form. We're going to take it off in chunks, 3 games at a time, so 4 total. Part 1 should be available right around the time you're listening to this. And then we'll go 2, 3, and 4 through the end of training camp right up until game week of FCS Southern Illinois. So I wanted to break down that schedule a little bit. And let's start with the Salukis. Because August 31st, BYU's 2024 season opener is the first ever meeting all time between BYU and the Salukis, who finished last year 8-5 and 4-4 in the FCS powerhouse Missouri Valley Football Conference. This is a team that brings back a decent amount, but they got a lot of questions, kind of like BYU, at quarterback right now. Hunter Simmons missed most of spring ball, but he seems to be healthy from a hamstring injury. And then they've also got a Murray State transfer, DJ Williams, competing for the starting signal caller role as well. FanDuel Sportsbook projects them to have 7.5 wins this year. Obviously, I don't expect one of them to be BYU. FCS wins over FBS opponents do happen, but they are fairly rare. I don't think this one's going to happen. So I think BYU is going to wind up starting this season 1-0. But things get really interesting right away. Game 2, Friday night, September 6th, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, right in the heart of D-Town, Gerald J. Ford Stadium to be exact. BYU and SMU will renew a multi-conference rivalry. Remember, they were briefly in the same league as members of the old Western Athletic Conference from 1996 and 1998. For the first time since the New Mexico Bowl a couple of years ago, the Cougars and the Mustangs will meet first in Dallas. Now, this is an SMU team that has a lot of high expectations going into their first year in the ACC. Obviously, a lot of deep-pocketed donors have stepped up so that SMU can make that move without a reported 9 years of television revenue, which is incredible. But SMU's got money, and they've got a lot of it, whether it's NIL, whether it's funding, whether it's reasons for new facilities, whatever it is. They've got a lot of money, and this is a very good team. FanDuel Sportsbook projects the Mustangs to finish at 8.5 wins this year. I'd take the over on that one. I think this is a team that in the first year in the ACC may be competitive towards the top of the conference. And I say maybe because depending on obviously whether or not teams like Clemson and Florida State, Miami maybe kind of pull it together. Otherwise, I think SMU is kind of right in the thick of that. They're returning their starting quarterback from last year, Preston Stone. He completed 60% of his passes for 3,197 yards, 28 touchdowns with 6 interceptions. And then you just don't count out the offense under head coach Rhett Lashley. He's really good. They average almost 500 yards a game, over 40 points since 2019, and they've just been able to keep rolling. Obviously got a lot of high expectations heading into their new conference. So between that and the Saturday, September 14th road game at former Mountain West in Wackville, Wyoming, BYU has its work cut out for it. The Pokes are breaking in a brand new coach after Craig Bull retired following their 9-4 season. The Cowboys finished 5-3 in the Mountain West play. Jay Suavo's a very good coach, though, as well, and he's got a lot of talent back. This is a gritty defensive Wyoming team, and it runs a very, very similar system. Jay runs a similar system, I should say, to what Craig Bull has run for the last couple of years. So I think this is a really tough game for BYU. I think there's a lot to like about this Wyoming team, and going to altitude at the heart of elevation in Laramie, Wyoming is never easy. So FanDuel Sportsbook projects the Pokes to win 6.5 games this year. There's a chance that this could be one of them. I think what will wind up happening is BYU is going to split these two games between SMU and Wyoming, probably go 1-1 apiece. So through the first 3 games of the 2024 season, BYU will wind up at 2-1. So I'm not quite confident enough to say which one they lose, whether it's at SMU or at Wyoming, but I think there's a decent chance that one of them snipes the Cougars coming as they come back home for their Big 12 opener at home on that 96 throwback night against Kansas State. We'll get into that a little bit later on another episode of the podcast, I promise. But for now, let's turn it over to my conversation with BYU grayshirt freshman commit Boyd Sorensen, the 6'4", 235-pound-ish incoming defensive lineman out of Sugar Salem High School in Sugar City, Idaho.
Yeah, no problem.
First question, though. Your high school roster says 6'4", 230.
Mm-hmm.
You don't quite look there. You look like you might be a little bit bigger. Did you grow some on your mission?
Yeah, I gained a little bit of weight. I gained probably like 20 pounds. So I'm sitting at 250 right now, working on getting that number up and up as much as I can. But
so he is a big boy. He is a significant chunk of meat for the BYU defensive line coming in 2024. He's enrolling in classes this semester. But you also just barely came back from a mission. So let's start there a little bit, because maybe we'll backtrack some to your high school career a little bit. But it wasn't that long ago that you were knocking doors, right? So kind of take me through sort of your mission and getting home and what's it like just sort of thinking about jumping back into football, yes?
Yeah, okay, sweet. Yeah, I went to Santiago, Chile on my mission and speaking Spanish, got to know a whole different culture, a whole different group of people. They gave me plenty of rice and chicken and beans to add on that extra 20. Add on that extra 20 pounds. I gained like 15 pounds right off the bat, but then I ended up losing a little bit of muscle. But the mission was awesome. Definitely changed my perspective. My work ethic definitely helped me out in many aspects. I do believe will translate to the football field. But coming back from the mission, it's been go, 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 because I didn't think anything was going to happen. I was sure I was talking to a couple different schools. I'd been offered a full ride from the number one junior college in Texas, Tyler University. And I knew something was in the works, but anything that I was going to do, I was planning on doing it, for the possibility to hopefully transfer over to BYU, because my family, we bleed blue, been a BYU fan. It's been the dream since I was 6 years old, since I understood what football was.
Yeah.
But coming back, nothing really was like for sure. I thought I was just going to go to a smaller D1 or a junior college for a year or two, hopefully do good, transfer over to BYU. And a little bit out of the blue, but thanks to a couple friends and family, like putting my name out there to people that they knew, I was able to miraculously get in contact or have the defensive coach watch my film, give me a look, and he told me he liked what he saw. He was an old player. He was the head coach at Weber State, who I'd been talking to for a little bit. I just transferred over. I really am a big fan of his defense, what he did over at Weber State, and I'm super excited for what he's going to do here at BYU. I know he'll be a great asset to them, and it was just awesome him reaching out to me, and we just met just like recently. We talked with him for a little bit, and he's awesome. I'm really happy that he gave me a good look.
That head coach over at Tyler JC that you were talking to about maybe going there to the best junior college in the state of Texas, I would agree with that as well. One of the better ones in the NJCAA. Former BYU walk-on Tanner Jacobson. So I'm going to count your recruitment a little bit as a TJ to J Hill dish for the easy layup. It feels like there might have been, I don't know if you can speak to that necessarily. That might be above your pay grade. Certainly it's above my pay grade. There might have been a little bit of communication.
No, I'm sure there's been tons of other different communication, but in the end, it's just thanks to a lot of people just like looking out for me, wanting the best for me. Tyler Jacobson, or Tyler University, Coach Jacobson, he was awesome. He told me, he's like, whatever you do, I just want the best for you. He was willing to, if he did bring me on, he was willing to help me like go to the next level, play at BYU the following year, because he had those connections and old BYU players. So he definitely was there for me, wanting to help me. So I'm sure he's probably said something to the coaches, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, Coach Jacobson's a great guy. I've known him for a long time, a lot of years. He played at BYU, but also coached at Snow College, and now obviously down there at Tyler. So pretty cool little layup right there. But you did mention that you knew Coach Hill, Jay Hill, defensive coordinator at BYU now. You talked to him a little bit in high school when he was at Weber State and that kind of thing. What are kind of some of your vibes or some of your sort of first impressions of your DC, I guess, here at BYU?
So honestly, when I was talking to Weber State, it was mostly talking to Jay Hill. He had kind of heard about me a little bit, but it was mostly talking with one of his recruit guys who had given me a good look and all that stuff. So I didn't really have like a full-on relationship with him, or never really like talked to him, because I'm sure as the head coach, he had a million things to do.
You got recruiting coordinators for a reason.
Yeah, and they do their job, and super grateful for them as well. But you asked me for the DC.
Yeah. Just how do you feel? How do you feel like you vibe with Jay, with your new DC?
Oh yeah. So with Jay, he's an awesome guy. He went up to Rick's College, played at Rick's College when they had football down there,
right.
and it was awesome. My old weights coach, who coached with Kalani Sitake at SUU for a little bit, and definitely coached at a high level, and was, I think, like one of the main reasons that I got as big, as strong, was as good of a defensive player as I was. Like kudos to his training regimen and everything that he does. But they knew each other, and just like talking with him the first time, he said he liked to fish. They were up in Island Park here a little bit ago, up in Idaho, so they love Idaho. So do I. I just get a really good vibe from him. I love the Idaho people. It's awesome. I love the ethic, the kinds of morals and everything that goes on out there.
We've got a decent amount of readers and listeners to this podcast, even, and whatnot, from Idaho, so they've probably watched you play during your time at Sugar Salem up there. But for the rest of us, maybe, those blokes, those of us who live in Utah, maybe didn't get to watch you every week, that kind of thing. Can you kind of describe your game? What kind of a player are you? What is BYU getting? What can BYU fans expect from you this year?
From me personally,
and beyond, I'll say.
Yeah.
This year and beyond.
Yeah. For the foreseeable future, they can definitely expect a player who's, I definitely had some of like the best stats. I was number one on Max Preps in every defensive category in my division. I had some amazing stats, amazing plays, and I did really good, but because of injuries my junior year and barely getting back my senior year, I don't feel like I've been able to reach like my full potential. I've never felt like I've been able to perform to my full potential, mostly because of that. Because right as I was maturing and becoming that football player that I was dreaming of and that I'm planning on becoming here at BYU, that's when those injuries and a couple setbacks happened. But those setbacks have definitely like put the fire under my butt to get to work and to be able to reach that full potential and to bring everything to the table that I can for the team. I'm super excited that they can expect a player who has like a lot of experience playing in a lot of different positions.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I feel like that gives me a good perspective in just having a feel for what's going out there on the field. I was starting all teams my junior year, including like kicker and punter and a couple other things during high school as well. I was all over the place, but I think everything has just made me a better football player, just seeing things from all the different perspectives, all the different like positions. It's helped me as a defensive player, especially to be able to read, react, and make the best of every situation.
Yeah, so you're just an all-around athlete. You played defensive end, defensive tackle in both a 3D and a 4D system. As well. I love hearing that special teams. You're a special teams animal. You love playing special teams.
Oh yeah, teams? Yeah. Some of my favorite pancakes are on special teams. Yeah.
You also played a decent amount of offense, mostly fullback, but a little bit of tight end, some running back in there, a tiny bit of running back kind of sprinkled in there as well. How you touch on this a little bit, but how do you feel like kind of knowing the offensive side of the ball makes you a better defensive player?
I just know because obviously each offense is a little bit different, but I know that there's certain cues that offense gives out. There's certain reads, just having like the feel of just being on the offense, being a part of it. I know that the offense, I feel in some aspects, is a little more tricky. They've got a ton more moving parts and a lot of people that they rely on. Defense, at least for my positions that I played on, defense was a little bit more simple. I had a simple job. It's a hard job. It's really tough, but it was simple enough that having that extra knowledge of being on the offensive side really just made me know how the quarterback's going to react, how to see certain things, if I see movement in the backfield and certain keys that I feel like with enough study and stuff you pick up just being a defensive player, you'll eventually pick it up. But being on the offensive side really helped me know just like if I see these things coming, just seeing certain reads, just especially from the line, being part of that line.
For sure. You've also got 3 words attached to your name that are my 3 favorite words from high school recruits ever. The thing I love, the thing that I love to hear about a high school recruit at all. It's multi-sport athlete. In addition to football, basketball, and track as well from high school. You were also the senior class president.
Yeah, I was senior class president. Yeah, of my high school. Yeah.
Maybe a 4-sport athlete in some ways with student government in there.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely enjoyed being it was a huge culture thing in my school, which is one of the reasons why I decided to play at Sugar opposed to some of the neighboring schools, is that they had a culture of multi-sport athletes. Everyone was a team. There was huge team camaraderie, which is another big reason why I wanted to play at BYU. I feel like everyone here especially is super involved with sports.
Yep. And
the teams have a different level of connection here, which I'm super happy about. But definitely being in basketball and track has been awesome. I found a lot of success. I did the decathlon in track my senior year, which was awesome. I only ever did it one time, but I actually came up here and performed at BYU's track for
at the BYU invite.
Yeah, the BYU invite for the decathlon. I ended up winning. It was my first one. I tried it out and I did really good. I got a plaque that says Utah's greatest athlete. Brought it back home to Idaho.
I love it. What was your best event in the decathlon?
Best event, I would say
Were
probably
you more of a thrower or a sprinter?
I was a thrower.
Okay.
Yeah, my senior year I placed first in shot and disc, and third in long jump, and 7th, I believe, in high jump.
You gotta have a pretty good javelin to do well in the decathlon too.
Oh, javelin though, that's the first time I touched a javelin was at the decathlon.
Really?
Yeah, it's illegal in Idaho. In a couple states it's illegal. It's not illegal anymore. I think they took it back last year, but I think I placed 3rd overall in javelin during the decathlon. First time touching it.
Your first time touching a javelin.
Yeah, I jogged up to the line and just hucked it, and I got almost 130, I think.
And you fit it. Wow! And you threw a 130, finished third in the javelin,
something like that.
Decathlon in the BYU invite here.
Yeah.
Some of the best track athletes in the Intermountain West coming to the BYU invite, and you just decide to pick up a javelin and you
most of those guys were hurdlers, some of them were distance runners, sprinters, pole vaulters, because pole vault gets extra points. I was just the lone thrower out in the crowd, this big guy, but I think I surprised myself too during some of those events. I didn't know how fast I was, never worked on block starts. I ended up running an 11.6, no training that whole year for the 100-meter sprint, and I was told by coaches, and I was working up to hopefully get like an 11.1, 11.2 at the next decathlon. I didn't end up going, but definitely that's another thing where I'm like, I was never able to see that full potential. Yeah. I know it's there, and I know I'm gonna be there definitely by the time I'm gonna be playing here. You're gonna see a different animal. Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
You grew up a BYU fan, and so you know the history of the BYU football program. But BYU's got a pretty good track program as well. Maybe there's something there. Maybe we'll connect you to some of those track coaches or whatnot if you want to try to do some of the multi-sport events.
Yeah, we talked to them about possibly. I know a lot of the players or some of them on the BYU team go and either help out or actually compete on the track.
Yeah, a couple.
There's a lot of really fast guys I know on the team who were track guys who are valuable assets to BYU track. I'd love to be a part of that.
BYU is also very quietly becoming a basketball school. KYU, they're trying to call it a little bit with new coach Kevin Young, who's not related, as far as I know, to the school's founder, Brigham Young, although maybe very, very distantly. But they're still calling it KYU and said, what'd you play in? What was your position in basketball? Were you
I was a big guy down low, I was a big guy down low. I'm not that big on the college level, at least in the height department. Those guys are pretty tall, but I could throw some people around.
Yeah, well, look, if Coach Young needs maybe a walk-on to come in and use 5 fouls and grab a couple of boards.
I'll be there.
That's your number, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go. Talking with Boyd Sorensen, the roughly 6'4", 240-ish pound defensive lineman. I don't know if you've weighed yourself very recently, so I'll just throw out roughly. He has grown a little bit.
I'm 252.
Are you past 250 now?
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty
a little above. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. He's a big boy. He's a big man in the middle, defensive tackle, defensive end, incoming freshman to BYU. And just walk me through a little bit kind of your plans, because I know it's been a bit of a whirlwind this summer from coming home from your mission in Chile to figuring out where you're going to play. You committed to BYU, and now you're enrolling this fall, correct?
Yes,
So kind of walk me through a little bit, sort of your upcoming plans here for the semester.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so I'll be gray shirting this fall, which is I'll just be here as almost kind of like a part-time student this fall, doing some stuff, just mostly working out. My scholarship starts in January. And so I'll be up here just preparing myself mostly, just getting to know the school, doing a couple things, but mostly just getting into good condition, getting my weight up, also the weight I'm pushing in the weight room, and try to get all my numbers up so that starting January when I start like practicing with the team, playing, doing everything, I am 100% reaching that potential and being the best player out there.
That's awesome. That's great. And that's great that you'll be around here. So even though you are, again, as of right now, plans could change, but as of right now, you're planning on gray shirting this upcoming semester, you will be here. So if the team does happen to maybe need to call somebody up from the practice squad,
I'll be there. I'll be out on the field. I still think I could put some hurt on people the way I am right now, but I would like a little bit more preparation.
Sure.
But either way, I'm ready.
As of right now,
I'm
playing
ready,
the gray shirt, but we'll see what the future holds there a little bit. And then the future, the long-term future could be even more bright as well. Well, Boyd, is there just anything that you want to leave with BYU fans, BYU students that may be listening here, listeners to the podcast, readers of the column, that kind of thing? Is there anything you want to leave with them before we let you go and let you make the drive back to Idaho to pack your suitcase?
Oh, yeah. I think the only thing I would say is to other athletes who, there's a lot of other athletes I knew who are in similar positions who come from small towns, little nowhere places, but who are also facing like the same issues that I kind of face, just like trying to get contacts and stuff. And I would say just never give up. If you put everything out there and do what God wants you to, what you believe that you should do, putting everything out into the world that's good and wholesome, and it'll come back and bless you. I believe that serving the mission, doing everything that I've done that I believe have been good. I'm not perfect, but trying to strive for the best has definitely come back in many blessings here, like coming back from the mission with BYU, everything falling into place. And even if there are some hiccups in the road, I'm pretty sure I'll still be here getting ready and ready to put the hurt on some people. But I would just say never give up on your dreams. Always keep trying. Don't let setbacks hold you back. Only thing that's going to hold you back is your confidence and your will and drive to push past your limits.
That's awesome. I think something that we all, whether we're football players or not, those are good life lessons and a good lesson to learn pretty early in your life and in your career. Boyd Sorensen, formerly of the Sugar Salem Diggers. The Diggers?
Diggers,
right?
The Sugar Beet Diggers.
The Sugar Beet Diggers, yeah.
On the farmland.
In Sugar City, Idaho. Rexburg area for those who need that point of reference as well. And incoming freshman at BYU. Like you mentioned, planning to gray shirt this upcoming semester, but if you need an extra body, Coach Hill, etc.
Put me in.
Yeah, you know where he's at. Boy, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
Get into the green, I ain't talking kale. Boy, that team up north, man, but oh well. Player. We getting jiggy with that boy Cosmo. Hey. We granting kids wishes like that boy Cosmo. I got you. They steady hating on us, but we who they watch though. The Pac-12 mad, but we still on top, bro. Jaron Harder, Cody X, that's a cool connect.
Yeah, my team is kinda old, but it's cool we vets.
I'm hitting too hard, ow, I hurt my neck.
Hey, Leak, you good, bro? I'm about to hit up Brett.
Man, them Utah State Aggies, man, they just some pets.
Catch us out in Vegas, you could place your bet.
Coach G up on our side, so we never pressed.
Praying meetings every day, so we never stress.
Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy, know you with me. Let's get it, baby. Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy. Know you with me. Let's get it, baby.